'Tis 1320 AM, WKRK 105.5 FM, Cable 25 and worldwide at country.am. One of these days I'm going to figure all that out and make myself a little list so I won't have to use my memory. And Sheriff, the rumors around the office here were that you were either mad at me, you didn't want to look at my ugly face today.
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
Like that. Just Sheriff's Office business got me tied up and I couldn't get going. So.
I'm glad you made it here and
there you go.
Plenty of time.
There you go. We've got a few
time.
minutes to talk today. Anyway.
Absolutely. How are things going for you?
Oh, things are going well. We're getting ready to wrap up another year here, and it's October already, and just a couple months. We'll be in 2017.
Less than 2 months to Christmas now.
And I think I'm like most Americans. I'm ready for 12 days from now for this national election to be over with and go on from there. So,
if I'm reading this correctly, 10 days, 13 hours, 47 minutes, and 10 seconds.
I was even 2 days behind, but I thought it was 12 days. It's 10 now.
I've been watching this clock for a while.
We're ready for the countdown.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's because it seems like time just keeps dragging on. So on this election, so.
It is amazing to me how many years it takes to go through all this media coverage for to pick a candidate.
Right.
we'll stop there.
Yeah, we better stop because the conversation might take a turn after this. So.
All right. We have Halloween coming up on Monday. Yes.
We do. And it's always a big time in Murphy, that a lot of people are out and hitting the streets, especially over around Valley River Avenue and Duke Street and all up through there. And, of course, Andrews, they have their Main Street festivities and Happy Top area and all that up there in Andrews. They have their Halloween shenanigans up there. So, we're just looking forward to it. We want to make sure everybody stays safe this Halloween. We don't have any accidents or anything like that. One of the things I also want to mention about safety is no matter how well you keep track on your children, they can dart out in front of cars and dart out in front of traffic and stuff. So as you're out and about, you're walking and you're taking up your candy, and those masks are hard to see through a lot of times. And just pay a little special extra attention to your kids and don't let them get away from you.
Yeah, those masks with the little eye holes, you don't have the left and right vision as a child. And a lot of times the kids don't think about the safety. They're thinking about the candy. Yeah.
And I say that not just for the parents, but also for the drivers that are out there. So as you're driving around and taking your children places and going up and down the roads, pay special attention to those little folks that are out there that may be darting out in traffic and those kind of things. Also, when we're talking about Halloween safety for a little bit, we've also got to remember, to go to people kind of thing, go to respectable places and inspect candy and all those kind of things and make sure that the candy has not been tampered with, or make sure it's in sealed containers and those kind of things, and sealed wrappers and hadn't been opened.
And it's sad that we have to think about that. And I was actually thinking about it this morning because I just got a new bottle of multivitamins in.
Right.
It took me about 10 minutes to get inside the bottle because of all the
safety precautions.
Yeah, the lid was sealed on there with plastic. Then I had to pull this thing up and then
tell the truth. You had a hard time getting in it because it was childproof.
It's true. It was true.
Yeah,
and it made me think. About the kids having to check because of tampering with products that was such a thing. I know when we were growing up, that was one of our fears.
It was.
The things that were tampered with and the razor blades and candy. And I can't understand the mentality that the people want to do things like that, though.
Right. The main thing is as you're inspecting that candy and when you bring it home, don't, I know it's hard for the kids a lot of times, but when you're collecting that candy and you're out trick-or-treating, try not to let your kids eat the candy there on the spot. Make sure you get it home, pour it out on the table, inspect it, look at it. And if there's any wrappers that's open, and sometimes they will pop open inadvertently, because of all the candy being dumped in and out of containers and things. Just because it's open doesn't mean that someone's tampered with it. But still, just on a safety precaution, on a safety level, if it's an open wrapper on a piece of candy, it doesn't matter if it's your favorite candy in the whole world. If it's an open wrapper, discard it. Don't consume that candy.
And also, I think that the teachers would like for you to not let your kids have all the candy Monday night too.
They would probably appreciate that. I know that when I worked for the school system, I was a bus driver, and I always hated the holidays coming in, especially like Valentine's Day, because all the kids got candy all through school, and the teachers wouldn't let them eat their candy. And so right at the end of school, they would let them open their candy up and eat it, and then they'd all get on the bus. And so we had all these hyped up kids with sugar on the bus on those days, and Easter, and and right before Christmas break and Thanksgiving break and all that. And I used to dread to see those days coming because these kids would be so hyped when they get on the bus to go home.
The sugar affects the kids a little bit differently than adults. It just makes me fatter.
Right.
That's
I can just look at candy anymore and just kind of see the scales go up.
And with it being National Chocolate Day, and
yes, I came in today and got a Hershey bar, Hershey's milk chocolate that Tim left for me for National Chocolate Day.
Donna Lynn is going to be happy that I shared.
There you go.
I told her I was going to eat those all. She brought those in to me this morning. I said, I'll eat them responsibly. She says, no, don't worry about responsible eating of chocolate.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's anytime from Halloween on through Christmas, it's the time to start planning your New Year's resolutions about losing weight, because that's not the right time to do it.
Not the right time to do it. No.
Right.
A lot of pounds going to be put on these next couple of months.
Right.
All right. Let's see what all else is going on in the county. I know that your office was involved in the lady who had been missing from, was it Silva?
Right,
and,
from Jackson County.
Jackson County. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can share a little bit with that. What had happened was there had been a silver alert put out in August where she had went missing there in Jackson County. And for anybody that's not familiar what a silver alert is, it's kind of like an amber alert for children. It's for elderly population. Most of the time when a silver alert goes out, it's someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's or some extenuating circumstance like that, or just a missing person that they don't know what happened to them. So a silver alert went out in August, and officers in the area had been looking for this lady since August, and no one could find her anywhere. The credit cards hadn't been used. Nothing showed up on the radar as far as where her location might be. So things just kind of rocked on since August. Well, last week, a couple of ATVers were out on a logging road in the woods down on the northwestern end of the county, down in Monroe, Tennessee county line. A lot of people don't realize Cherokee County borders Monroe County, Tennessee, but it does. And they're at the Monroe County line, and that they ran across a car that had driven up a logging road as far as it could. And when they got up there, they looked in the vehicle, just kind of wondering why this car was up there. Thought it might have been stolen or something like that. But then they noticed a pocketbook in the car. They noticed some different things that identified that it looked like it might have been a female in the car. They also noticed that there was cash and things there. So obviously it wasn't a robbery. It wasn't anything like that. And as they were looking around, just some things just didn't make sense to them. It just didn't look right. So as they came out and got back to civilization where they could make some phone calls and things, they contacted the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, and there they gave the tag number off the car and things of that nature. So when we run the tag through the Sheriff's Office, it came back as the person there for the Amber Alert. Well, this was right before dark, and so the vehicle looked like it had been there for an extended period of time, looked like it had been there a while. So at that point, there wasn't much hope that there was someone wandering around in the woods. It felt like that it would be a recovery at that point. Right. So we just kind of secured the scene, contacted Jackson County, along with U.S. Forest Service and some different people, the SBI, about this. They sent people out from Jackson County to come out the next morning to go investigate, but during the night we realized through working with the Forest Service that the road was just across the Monroe County, Tennessee line, so the vehicle was actually in Monroe County, Tennessee. Right. A lot of those, if you've ever been around in the wooded areas here in Cherokee County and you get state lines and county lines and all that, there's not a big welcome to Monroe County, Tennessee sign up in the woods. So we found out later that we were actually in Tennessee, and so we contacted those folks over there. So in conjunction with Cherokee County, Monroe County, U.S. Forest Service, and Jackson County, and the State Bureau of Investigations, we just kind of launched in this together and kind of help investigate it together. So if there were any jurisdictional issues, we would have it all covered, no matter where it was at. And later on, there was some remains found of the lady that Miss Gass, I think was her name, and so believed to be her. but it had been there at some extended period of time, and those things have been sent off for identification. But at this point in time, I think it's been confirmed, and
I think the Knoxville had confirmed dental records.
Right, I think it was confirmed that it was the missing lady.
And no foul play was suspected.
It was no foul play. It was one of those, from what I understand, dementia, Alzheimer's kind of thing, and probably got lost, turned around. That's as far as she could get, and probably had left the vehicle just wandering until
was there cell phone signal out there, service out in that area?
I don't think so. I think it was limited, but I don't think right there where the vehicle was now that there was any service there.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is those things that that you don't want to see happen. And in that particular area of the county down there, we've seen that happen quite a bit over the years. I know that the years that I've worked for Cherokee County, that we've recovered several vehicles and Alzheimer patients from down in that area. I don't know what it is that draws them that way or how they get to that place, but it for some reason a lot of people wind up in that area. I guess it's because it's when they get there, it's backwoods and confused and they can't figure out how to get out.
I can relate to, because I've gotten lost on the back roads before. I was going somewhere over in Tennessee, and I was following a GPS, a very older GPS, and it led me through these the pig trails, and I thought, am I ever going to get out of this place? But
that happens.
It's easy to do, and especially if you don't have any kind of navigation to tell you where the next road is.
Right.
And we don't always keep maps in our cars, like we used to.
And it's one of those things. It's hard. It's hard for the family, when you have those type situations happen. We, from my family, my personal experience of dealing with, and currently dealing with people who are going through dementia and Alzheimer's, it's hard to see that transformation that takes place right in front of your eyes.
It does, yes.
To watch those people go through what they go through, it's very heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we appreciate your work on that and just the cooperation with surrounding agencies. That means a lot because, like you say, you have your jurisdiction, and when you're out in the middle of the woods like that and there's no state line that you can visibly see, and it's good that you're able to work with
one of the
states.
things that helped, too, was we brought some aircraft in from the State Bureau of Investigations. They contacted some aircraft and brought some in. And so as those aircraft were flying, they were able to mark places, where was state lines and where these things happen. And from time to time, they do go through and mark those paths, those state lines, with different boundary markers and different things. But very quickly, those grow up, and gets covered over to where you can walk right past the state line sign in the woods and not see it, not know where you're at. So it really helped having that aircraft in to be able to mark things, and through their avionic GPSs where they were getting signal from being up in the air so high, they could actually mark where the state lines were and all those kind of things. So we knew where those jurisdictional boundaries were.
See, I didn't even realize that was an issue in this case, that the boundaries, that I realized she was over the Tennessee state line somehow.
Right. Yeah.
And
years ago when I was a deputy, I actually worked a case on the same type of situation where it was an Alzheimer patient in that same type area right up through there in Monroe County, where actually the vehicle was in Cherokee County, but the body was recovered in Monroe County. And the state line ran right between where the vehicle and the body was. So when you get into those areas, it's hard to tell a lot of times where things are located and where things are.
Oh, so that was a two-state
Right, that was a two-state investigation also.
Okay. Yeah. Have you run into any problems with the just being right here on the border of 3 states? Has that caused any problems?
None. No, we run across problems with that all the time, and the reason with that is because you have reciprocal states, and what reciprocal states mean is that one state honors the other state's laws and guidelines, and kind of goes with each other. One of the issues is with Cherokee County is that Tennessee is a reciprocal state of North Carolina, that the governors have entered into agreement that that they would honor each other's jurisdictional boundaries and investigations and things of that nature. So if we're doing, for example, a fresh pursuit and we're in a chase and we go into Tennessee, we can continue on with that and use whatever forces and means necessary in Tennessee as if they were still in North Carolina. The problem is with Georgia, that's not so in Georgia. Georgia is not a reciprocal state, which means we have different rules and different guidelines and things we have to follow for the state of Georgia. But we also have a very good working relationship, especially with those sheriff's offices in Fannin and Union and Towns and and those northern border counties. We have very good relationships with them. So it's not been a problem that's been insurmountable, but it is just one of those things that we need to be aware of, that there are different guidelines, different things depending on what state you go in.
And not only do we have Tennessee and Georgia that are different states, we have a unique situation where we have the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians.
It's a sovereign nation.
A sovereign nation. So we have different ways to approach that. How does that work?
We actually have a mutual aid agreement with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indian to assist in investigations and things with them. However, the way mutual aids work is that you have to be requested to come to their jurisdiction. We have those same mutual aids like with Murphy and Police Department, Andrews Police Department, for example. And so as out in the county, if we have an officer in trouble or have an investigation going on, those towns can come out in the county to assist and come out to help. However, that has to be done by request. They can't just volunteer to go work an investigation in Ranger, for example. Murphy can't just go to Ranger and do an investigation because they hear it on the radio and decide, hey, I'll just work that, But if there's something going on where we need their assistance, we can contact them and ask them to come to Ranger and help, and they have the ability to do that. Same thing happens with the Eastern Band. Even though it's a sovereign nation and it's a place where we have no jurisdictional authority whatsoever, it is somewhere that we can go and to assist the Cherokee Tribal Police with that. And those areas and those things are gray also, because that jurisdictional boundary and sovereign nation applies to enrolled members of the Cherokee Eastern Band. But for non-Indians, there's certain things we can do on Indian property for non-Indians. So it's just one of those things that can get very confusing, and it's better on that property to let the tribal police request your assistance instead of trying to go do something.
For folks who may not know what sovereign nation mean,
it's a different country.
It's a completely different country,
right?
That exists within our.
It's a nation within a nation, and the reason that I say that it gets very complicated is because it is a nation within a nation. For those people who belong to that nation, those that are enrolled to the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indian, we have no authority for those folks that are enrolled members of the Eastern Band. It would be the same as us going to Mexico or going to Canada or anywhere else. We can't go there and exercise law enforcement authority. However, with that mutual aid agreement, that does give us the ability to go upon request. So if we have an incident happening on tribal property where someone's life is in danger or they're being threatened, and the tribal police may be in Snowbird or in Cherokee or somewhere out there, and it's going to take them an extended period of time to get here, they may contact our dispatch center and say, can you have a deputy go down and take care of this situation or secure the scene until we can get there. So a lot of times what we do on the tribal properties is that we just try to bring the scene to a peaceful place until the tribal police can arrive, and then they can do their own investigation and things to what happens. But that's also a situation that gives me extreme heartburn when that happens, is because they are a sovereign nation, and even though they did request us, I'm constantly concerned that we get there on that property and we hurt someone, or God forbid we have a shooting, or you have to effect an arrest or something like that. Because when you do that, then all those things get very complicated, because it's all handled through the federal system and through Washington D.C. and all that. So it can get very complicated.
Well, I just kind of want to take a time to explore some of that. I knew that with us being in a unique location that we are, with bordering the state of other states, and then with the Eastern Band here also, I knew that had to create a few issues, and I appreciate your taking time to explain some of those.
Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, Graham County Sheriff's Office, Swain County Sheriff's Office, and Jackson County Sheriff's Office faces the same issue that the other 96 counties in the state don't even think about. And so when we go to sheriff's conferences and stuff, and we're talking about tribal issues, they're all scratching their head and looking at us like, what are you talking about? What's going on? So that's things that we have to deal with out here on the far west that other counties don't have to deal with.
Well, it's good to hear that you have good working relationships with all the neighboring offices.
As a matter of fact, we did do an arrest up at the casino here not long ago, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, on those same mutual aid type agreement, where They had an incident going on there in the parking lot with some drug issues and some fights and things of that nature, where we were requested to respond and go up there and help with some of that. So we do that on a daily basis, and not just on the casino property, but also on tribal properties that's scattered throughout Cherokee County. So a lot of times if they see a sheriff's office car on tribal property, a lot of times I start getting the phone calls, why is there a sheriff's office car on tribal property,
right,
from some of the tribal members there. But we try not to be on that property at all unless it's justified and unless it's been requested by tribal police to be there.
All right, very good. Well, I see our time is getting away quickly.
There you go.
Anything you want to cover before we close out the show today?
No, I just want to once again tell everyone to be safe and have a safe Halloween. We want to make sure all of our kids come home and they come home safe and sleep in their beds and eat their candy the next morning. And please don't dress up like a clown.
Please do not dress up like a clown. Has that calmed down any?
It has, but it's one of those things like a roller coaster. It calms down and you don't hear anything about it, and all of a sudden it spikes back up and it's in the news and Facebook and all that again.
I just saw another story yesterday where a professional prankster who was having this thing video.
Right.
He approached the wrong person that I think started beating him with a gun.
Right.
And so he and the cameraman started running for their lives, and says he will never dress up as a clown. And that's one of the things that you're concerned about,
That is
too.
my main concern. I have no concern. I want to understand this. I have zero concern that there are clowns roaming the neighborhood trying to abduct children and kill people. I have no concern of that whatsoever. But what I do have a concern is people pranking, dressing up like a clown, trying to scare people, and then someone using either excessive force or deadly force against those people. So a lot of people that dress up and try to prank and scare people don't understand what danger they're putting themselves into. So.
It can be very, very dangerous. And from what I've just read on Facebook, some people have really, really bad fears of clowns. And I've never been afraid of a clown, but I probably haven't watched those scary clown movies either. I always think of clowns as circus and all that happy music, but some people really are afraid of clowns.
They're terrified. And before we go, just one other thing: 10 days, 13 hours, 26 minutes, and 6 seconds till the election.
All right. Sheriff, thank you very much. Good to see you today.
You have a good day.
It's WKRK Radio in Murphy, North Carolina. Stay tuned. Your weather forecast is coming up next, brought to you by Carbet Mart.